Welcome back to Indie Film Weekly for the week of November 14, 2025. I'm Glen Reynolds, and this week's theatrical lineup spans desert raves, moral tailspins, and the hard work of stitching a life back together. If one of these films opens anywhere near you, please see it in a theater. Indie films breathe better with a crowd. Indie Film Weekly is brought to you by Indie Igniter. Tools, tactics, and tough love for filmmakers who want real audiences. Let's dive in. First in theaters this week, Sirât begins as a father and son search party and turns into a road movie that feels half pilgrimage, half mirage. A father and his teenage son cross southern Morocco tracking the faint trail of a daughter-sister who vanished months earlier. Their only clue? Whispers of a semi-mythical rave near the Mauritanian border. The further they go, the more the journey stops behaving like a map and starts behaving like a trial, heat that rattles judgment, bass lines drifting in from somewhere that might be memory, and a not-so-distant conflict that keeps grazing the horizon. Director Oliver Lax leans into elemental cinema, wind, dust, headlights carving the night, faces deciding whether hope is a compass or a trap. It's a film about the thin places, where grief and revelation share the same road, and where a parent has to let a kid see them as a flawed human being. Come for the mystery, stay for the way the desert answers without words. Next in theaters, The Things You Kill is a thriller that starts academically tidy and ends with your stomach in your shoes. A university professor can't accept the suspicious circumstances around his mother's death. Rage curdles into obsession, and obsession demands a witness, then an accomplice. He fixates on the one person within reach, a gardener who becomes both audience and instrument as the professor begins to correct the world. Alireza Khatami stages the slide from grief to violence with unnerving calm, elegant frames, civilized conversation, and then a line quietly crossed that you somehow didn't notice until the ground gives way. What's thorny here isn't just the acts, it's the etiquette that cloaks them. The film keeps asking whether morality is a set of rules, a muscle you train, or a story we tell ourselves so we can sleep. By the final movement, every choice is a mirror. Who's being coerced, who's consenting, and who's pretending not to know the difference. And lastly, in theaters, Rebuilding finds its drama in ash and aftercare. After wildfires erase his ranch, a worn-down cowboy named Dusty ends up at a FEMA camp, the kind of temporary city built from cots, coffee, and complicated neighbors. What sounds small is exactly the point. Director Max Walker Silverman watches people try to be useful when their old identities, father, spouse, rancher, fixer, no longer fit. Dusty drifts towards his daughter and ex-wife in the same way he drifts toward camp chores, slowly, stubbornly, with the clumsy grace of someone learning new tools. The movie respects the logistics, intake forms, supply lines, the way a generator becomes a town square. But it also catches the sparks, jokes traded between strangers, a borrowed dog, a song that turns a tent into a room. This is a humane, gently funny, quietly romantic film about mutual aid, pride, and the courage it takes to let people help. It's not about the fire, it's about what's left and who chooses to stay. So in theaters this week, that's Sirât, Things You Kill, and Rebuilding, a desert reckoning, an ethical freefall, and a tender blueprint for starting over. New on TVOD this week, Stationed at Home unfolds on a frigid Christmas Eve, 1998, following a solitary cab driver through a small city that's asleep except for the wrong kinds of noise. He's on the graveyard shift, chasing fares, and a private miracle, a glimpse of the brand new International Space Station arcing across the sky. Daniel V. Muschieri builds a night of tiny encounters, regulars, strangers, almost confessions. stitched together by radio chatter and the driver's soft fixation on looking up. The movie has a lovely double exposure: earthly hassles and cosmic wonder. What it captures best is the way certain holidays make you inventory your life, whether you meant to or not. By the time the clouds cooperate, you understand why seeing a moving star could feel like permission to keep going. Streaming now on Apple, Amazon, and Google Play. And for our classic spotlight this week, Pixote turns 45 and remains one of the most searing portraits of youth ever put on film. Set between Sao Paulo and Rio, it follows a homeless boy swept into a juvenile prison, then back onto the streets with a fragile makeshift family in tow. The filmmaking is raw in the best sense: handheld urgency, faces that carry entire chapters, scenes that feel witnessed more than staged. Director Hector Babinko never looks away from violence or tenderness. Both live uneasily in the same frame. You can feel how institutions grind people down and how kids invent codes to survive in their wake. It's a tough watch and an essential one. The kind of movie that recalibrates your sense of what gritty actually means. If you've somehow missed it, correct course. It's available to rent on Amazon, and its pulse hasn't faded. And that's the November 14 edition of Indie Film Weekly. If a film lands near you, make a night of it. Indie theaters run on tickets, not vibes. If you're queuing at home, pair one with a friend and a group text. Great movies get better when you talk about them. If this helped you plan your week, please subscribe or drop a quick review so other film folks can find us. I'm Glen Reynolds. Until next time, keep it searching, keep it honest, and keep it indie.